Hey, what's up, guys? It's Necessity here. It's been a minute. I'm going to be doing some Halo competitive settings. These are the best settings in the game that I could find. This is my tutorial. Let's get right into it. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is if you play Halo in Steam, you're going to go to your Steam library. You can find this in the top left. Hopefully you can find it. You're going to right-click Halo Infinite. You're going to go to Properties. You're going to go to DLC, and you're going to make sure that this is unchecked. This is the high-res textures. You want this off. It's going to make your game run a lot worse because it's going to demand more from your computer. I just don't recommend it. And yeah. Next, you're going to want to come to here and disable Steam input. This is going to cause input lag to your controller. What we don't want is input lag. You want your controller to be more responsive. Steam input causes crazy input lag. And yeah. Alright, so now we're just going to boot up the game.
One eternity later.
Alright, now that you've booted up Halo Infinite, we're going to go into the Academy and we're going to configure some settings and change a few things. So let's go. Okay, now that we're in the Academy, let's go over the settings. So you're going to go to Settings, you're going to go straight to Video. We'll get into the other settings later. We're going to go straight to Video, and we're going to go down one by one and talk about each settings. Okay, so now that we're in the settings, obviously you want your full screen to be on. Your resolution scale. Now, this is, people say it's completely subjective, but it's really not. The lower the resolution, the more frames you're going to get, the more response time you're going to get. I play at 72. I have a really good PC, so sometimes if I want the game to look really pretty, I'll put it to 100 and play. I mean, you can like barely notice the difference. I mean, it's not actually, you can notice the difference. The game looks a lot nicer. Maybe you can see like maybe it helps with like hitting snipes more because with the shock rifle, the headshots, because you can see their head clearly. But if you want lower input lag and if you want higher frames, I do recommend putting this to 72. It's going to help for your minimum frame rate and your maximum frame rate. You want this to be at your refresh rate for your monitor, especially if you're playing online. I see a lot of AMs and pros cap their FPS because they think the game runs better at like 120. It doesn't. It really just depends on your computer. For example, I know Gunny plays at 120 FPS because the Xboxes on LAN only go up to 120 on FPS, so it helps him. Also, he streams on one PC. But I mean, realistically, if you're playing online, you want to have the biggest advantage online. So I recommend playing the highest refresh rate your monitor can go to. Mine's 240, so I set it to 240. You don't want minimum frame rate on. What this does is it scales the image and it can cause pop in and pop out, which can cause micro stutters in your game. If you have a good PC, I just recommend turning this off. If you're looking to play the game competitively, you need to invest in a good PC. But if that's all you got, then maybe try experimenting with this. I don't recommend it. I recommend turning this off. If you have a bad PC, try to play 120 FPS. Play with this off because it's going to cause micro tears and micro stutters. It can, because the scaling system is not that good in this game. You obviously want VSync off. I'm going to make a YouTube video later of how to prep for LAN if you are interested in going to LAN, how to make your PC feel like an Xbox. There's ways you can do it, and honestly, sometimes the Xboxes feel better than your PC. You want to prep in an accurate way. All right, so with the first setting, we have AA, anti-aliasing. We want this to be low. Basically, this gives like a blurry mesh effect. It makes things look nicer. Honestly, I like the crisp pixelated effect. I know some people don't like it. I don't think it looks that good, and it's gonna make your frames lower. So we want this low. So next setting, texture filtering. We want this to be low. This is how AA interacts with geometry on certain textures. We just want this to be low. Ambient occlusion. This has to do with like lighting. We want this to be low. Any like lighting settings you want it to be off or low in any game, really, if you're trying to get the highest FPS. Texture quality, you want this to be low. This is just the textures and the resolution of items in the game. We want this to be low so we can get the highest FPS. Now, geometry quality. Now, 343 updated the game, and there was a glitch where things are not loading in. They looked like mashed potatoes. This has to do with further distance rendering. So we actually want this to be high or medium. It doesn't need to be ultra. This can cause people, even like Spartans, to be looking like mashed potatoes or sometimes even not there. So I recommend putting this as high. Reflections off. You don't need the water to be super reflective and nice and shiny. You're not playing this game for it to look nice. You're trying to get the most out of your settings. Depth of field, you want this low. This just has to do with effects and how they stimulate in your vision, in your Spartan's vision. Shadow quality, again, any lighting, you want low. We want the highest FPS. Lighting quality, you want this low. Fog quality off. Cloud quality low. Dynamic wind off. Ground cover quality low. Effects quality now. This is actually an interesting thing. You either want this medium or high. I put it to medium, but basically if you have your effects quality medium or high, you can see certain things in the game interact in a way. For example, I know the dynamo nades, if you throw them, you can see the chain in the direction instead of just getting the tapping hit marker. I believe dinos are incompetitive. They're on some maps. They're usually GA'd because pros are trying to GA everything. You want this to be medium, especially with the shock rifle too. If you shoot somebody and it chains, you'll be able to see the direction. You just have to put it to medium to get that effect. It doesn't show up on low. Decal quality, you want this low. Terrain quality, you want this low. Animation quality, I think you want this max. I would assume that this helps at seeing Spartans strafe better, like the enemy Spartan. So I would say put this to max. I haven't experimented with this, but auto max is probably fine. It's not going to make that much of a difference. Simulation quality, you want this low. Flocking quality, this just has to do with like birds. You want this off. Async compute has to do with your GPU. I know some AMD GPUs work better with async compute, or async compute. Sorry, I'm saying that wrong. So you just have to experiment. It's completely individual based. Has to do with your GPU. And yeah, it might work for you, it might not. Might cause some crashes. Just experiment with it. All right, ray tracing. Obviously, you want this off. Blur, you want this off. Screen shake. Oh my gosh, there are so many people, and especially in the casual community, play with screen shake, and it blows my mind. Please turn this off for your own good, for your own mental sanity. Please turn this off. Exposure, you want 0. Full screen effects, you want 0. Speed lines, you want 0. Sharpening, I'd say this really doesn't matter, but we're just trying to get the most FPS. I'd say put this at 0, please. All right, so there's some hidden settings we're gonna go over. You're gonna go to gameplay, and you're going to go to all the way down to FPS counter network statistics. This is going to appear in the top right. My camera's blocking it. Let me move it so see at the top right. You're gonna be able to see your FPS. This is gonna allow you to just like benchmark and see what your ping is if you want. So you can know what your game is running at, and if you're stuttering and you feel like your game is bad, you're like, oh, maybe it's time to invest in a new PC. You also want to come down in gameplay to UI visual effects. You want Chrome aberration off, you want bloom off, and you want parallax off. These are all just some like nice add-on settings that make lighting look a little different. You just want these off. Again, we're just trying to maximize our FPS. Also, make sure that your outlines are completely maxed out when it comes to the enemy. I just play with basic red, blue. Blue is my friendly, red's my enemy. Make sure that these are maxed out so you can see people more clearly. Alright, so another setting we're going to go to that you want to know is an accessibility. You're going to go to sensory. You want all this off. This is not going to help you. You don't want any of this. People say it's preference, oh I don't care. No, you don't want any of this on. This is just clutter in your visuals, and you're going to want this off. Alright, that pretty much wraps up the video. Basically, I just wanted to get some settings that help people who are still getting into Halo. I know the game's been out for a minute, but believe it or not, the most searched thing in YouTube is Halo Infinite settings. So apparently people cannot find good settings and they need help. I just wanted to make this baseline video. I think I might have made a video a long time ago. I'm just getting back into YouTube, so I just wanted to make a video that helped. I'm sorry if I don't seem high energy today. I'm kind of going through some personal things. But I want to make these videos because I do love making videos. It's a passion of mine, and more videos are going to come. I'm excited. Let me know what you guys want to see in the comments. And yeah, have a nice day.